Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone. Welcome back to the ultimate compilation of logic versus outrage. Today we're serving up liberal takes that crumble faster than a cookie under a toddler's fist. First clip, a liberal tries to justify unborn babies being optional add-ons until reality smacks her harder than the silence she walks away in.
So how did I deserve to die for the crime of the man who raped my mother?
How did you deserve to die? You're right there. I'm confused.
That's because the law protected me. I was born exactly 3.5 years to the date of Roe v. Wade. My birth mother went to 2 illegal abortions, and I was almost killed, but she backed out because of the law and fear for her own safety. She told me if it had been legal, she absolutely would have aborted me. And 6 years later, she changed her mind about abortion, like many women do. But I literally owe my birth to the law, which protected me. So I'm asking you, how did I deserve to die for the crime of the man who raped my mother?
Well, at that point in time, you were still, in your mother's belly, and she had all control over you because you're a part of her body. And if she wanted you removed, that's her choice. I'm glad that you're here today. Like, you survived. Congratulations. But it's still her choice. And it doesn't matter about if there was a law there to save you. Like, if she wanted to, she could have. And that's it.
So I value you as a person, and I can tell you I'm so glad you're here, honestly, and I'm so glad you're alive. I'm so glad you were born. But what I'm hearing you say is that if you had your way, I'd be dead right now. Because my birth mother's choice, her choice was to kill me. And the law protected me. And the question is, did I deserve the protection I received? Thank you. It's okay. You can take your time.
It's amazing how certain views sound bold on Twitter, but evaporate the moment someone personalizes the logic. When your worldview implies someone standing right in front of you shouldn't exist, yeah, that's a hard position to defend. Walking away was probably the smartest thing she did all day. Next up, Batya Ungar Sargon vaporizes a CNN panel so fast they probably filed for emotional insurance.
We all agree that the fraud story in Minnesota is bad, and yet the topic we're discussing is not the fraud scandal. It's Donald Trump talking about it. This is why he won in 2016, and it's why he won in 2024, because instead of talking about the outrageous situation in which immigrants who were given the greatest privilege on earth, American citizenship, turned around and stole from the American people, we're talking about how Donald Trump talks about it. That is his superpower.
Batya showed up on CNN and basically reminded them that talking about Trump talking isn't journalism, it's therapy. She pointed out the obvious. People care about the actual crisis, not the panel's emotional reaction to it. And honestly, calling that his superpower is the most polite way to say they're out of touch. Clip 3. A protester who knows exactly what her sign says because her boyfriend wrote it.
Is Trump a lizard person or something there?
He's a snake. Look at all the things he's done. Bigotry, greed, tolerance, intolerance, hate, censorship.
How has he censored people?
My boyfriend made this sign, so I wish he were here today because you'd have a good conversation with him.
Sure. Do you believe that Trump is racist?
Yes.
What has he done or said that's racist?
Well, the immigrants that they're picking up, they are racially profiling based on skin color and their accent. That's racism.
So how is it
It's Democrats, and we're all different colors.
Well, so you said Donald Trump is rounding up certain types of immigrants. He's targeting Hispanic people is your claim, but the majority of illegal immigrants who enter through the country are Hispanic. So I think that's just
targeting people with brown skin and people who have accents.
I've seen Australians. What citizens have been deported?
I don't have specific examples. I don't think Trump knows what's going on. I mean, he's busy building a ballroom and going and having fun and collecting money. I don't think he really has a lot of ideas of what's going on. I think it's the regime running the country, to be honest with you.
I mean, he's doing more than Sleepy Joe. He's actually going out, he's taking planes, he's taking flights to other countries.
Joe Biden.
The man who was actually busing black children out of white schools when he was a senator.
Again, a lot of history I'm not familiar with.
So you don't know the history of Joe Biden being a racist senator?
I don't know the history of Joe Biden.
I think you should know if you support somebody.
Into politics.
I think you should not engage with them. It's a losing battle.
I know.
With Trump.
Two years ago, I got involved in politics. Before that, I never paid any attention at all.
Donald Trump was one of the first people to hire black people because black people were not allowed to work in certain areas, and he actually hired black people. And for that,
Black people.
I don't know the exact number, but he was one of the first businesses out there to hire black people on Mar-a-Lago.
So are you for Trump?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, well, get lost.
Don't you think if you're out here protesting a government that you should have some substance to your arguments?
This is what happens when activism becomes a hobby instead of a conviction. You end up waving a sign your boyfriend wrote and praying no one asks follow-up questions. The moment real discussion shows up, the whole argument deflates like an old balloon at a kid's birthday party. Coming up, a liberal attempts to give Stephen A. Smith the opportunity, and he rejects it like a bad trade offer.
I'd love to give you the opportunity to perhaps change your position on what you said.
I'm not changing a thing.
Okay.
I didn't stutter when I said it.
You want to stay loud and wrong?
Well, you could call it loud and wrong all you want to. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As it pertains to Mark Kelly, what I was talking about is military. What I did was get on the phone with family and friends who have served in the military. And I said, we're not civilians. This is not the court of law. You can be implicated for implying something if you are a former military member or you are a present military member. It wasn't what Mark Kelly said. It's the fact that he was a combat Navy pilot who served in the military who would tell folks, ignore an order when it could get them in order.
The best part is how confidently she tried to grant permission for a viewpoint correction like a school principal scolding a student. Stephen A. simply reminded her that disagreement isn't a crime, and facts don't bend just because someone gets uncomfortable hearing them. In this one, a liberal asks why people get for beliefs, so Damon Imani gives her the crash course she definitely didn't study for.
Isn't a fundamental part of being an American that we are able to express our opinions to each other without fear? Without this kind of horror happening. And it seems to be something we have been seeing more and more of. And it's not even left or right. It's just people being taken out because of their beliefs.
There's just no place for this kind of violence in this country. I am heartbroken over it. I cannot believe that someone would kill another person because they were speaking their beliefs.
Well, for years, you and your allies in the media have been conditioning half of the country against the president, his supporters, and figures like Charlie Kirk. Trump is Hitler, his supporters are fascists, right-wing extremists is danger to our democracy, you know the words. Yet you seriously sit here acting surprised when lunatics who believe your words decide to take matters into their own hands. Your side burn and loot every time things don't go your way. Your side tried to assassinate the president multiple times. Your side burned Teslas all around the country and wanted Elon. Your side Charlie Kirk. Your side is currently celebrating it. So don't talk to me about, well, this is not a left and right issue. It is the left. It's only the left. It's ironically the Democratic side who engages in political violence and of figures they disagree with. And every time something like this happens, you come here, you tune down the rhetoric, crocodile tears, ooh, I can't believe this. Then a week later, you go right back at the dictator and fascist rhetoric again. So you don't really care. You're just pretending.
The irony here is off the charts, lamenting political violence while ignoring the non-stop demonization campaign that fuels it. Damon simply connected the dots she hoped no one would notice. If you spend years painting your opponents as monsters, don't be surprised when some people start acting like they're hunting one. Clip 6. A man tries the classic who will feed the children argument and gets bodied with basic logic.
How do you plan to support these newborn children in education, housing, and feeding them?
How are we housing what people? The million children? They live with their moms and dads.
Understood. How do we intend to feed these people as well?
What?
How do we intend to feed these people as well?
We don't have a famine in the United States.
Understood. Providing basic necessities such as education, how do you plan to supply that? As most schools are public.
So the kids would go to public school? I don't understand what your problem is. You're making the argument that if there's a million children born every year, that we're going to be overpopulated, schools, there's not going to be enough schools, there's not going to be enough houses, there's not going to be enough food. Is that your underlying argument?
I presume eventually. But assuming that the economy continues to go away it goes, i.e. a lot of money away from the middle class, there tends to be a situation where a lot of people cannot receive the funding for the basic needs that they require.
Yeah, that's why you vote Republican. But I don't understand your premise, because your premise is actually pretty scary, because your premise is, well, we should welcome these abortions because it kills humans who then you're afraid we can't feed. Because honestly, if you're going to talk about like being afraid of housing and feeding and educating, why don't we mandate a policy? I don't know, let's go Old Testament on our here, and every 2-year-old in the country has to be euthanized, because 2-year-olds consume way more food and room, and they're going to be going to preschool in a year and a half. Why wouldn't we kill 2-year-olds?
I believe you're putting words in my mouth, and I don't believe this is respectful.
No, I didn't say you said that. I'm saying, why don't you kill 2-year-olds?
The man came prepared with dramatic doomsday scenarios and left the moment someone pointed out the US isn't exactly on the brink of famine. When your entire point boils down to, we might have too many kids someday, don't be shocked when it gets dismantled in 10 seconds flat. Next, a MAGA guy reminds a liberal anchor that free speech isn't free when your government is busy silencing everyone you disagree with.
The problem is that is believed. And we have spent way more time treating Jimmy Kimmel as a victim than the person who was in front of their wife and children.
Let me ask you a question. If Joe Biden took down a prominent right-wing personality on TV for what he or she said, would you endorse that?
No, that is literally what the administration that you served did. Your administration deplatformed and kicked off of social media. You want to talk about actually silencing? Having any single public outlet that you have unallowed to broadcast something, right? Jimmy Kimmel could go on MSNBC tomorrow. He's going back on ABC tonight. This man has not been silenced. Charlie Kirk's been silenced because he's dead. A lot of conservatives were silenced on social media platforms because the government threatened those social media companies. Facebook, Google, Twitter, you can go down all the list. YouTube, again, just acknowledged to Congress today that they did that at the behest of the Biden administration.
Somehow, celebrity outrage always gets the VIP treatment, while actual victims get a polite shrug. The MAGA guy just held up a mirror. Free speech isn't selective, and pretending it is only highlights the bias you didn't notice. Social media silencing isn't trending until it's someone famous whining about it. Meanwhile, a woman argues we should be allowed to babies, and immediately gets hit with a PhD-level history lesson.
That's my final standpoint. Yes, I think women should be able to kill humans, their baby, kill up until they're lawfully in whatever state that they're in, if they feel like that they're not going to be responsible adult.
And that is the very thing that has caused human rights abuses throughout history. During slavery, we said not only do you have to be a human being to get equal rights, but you also have to be white. In the Holocaust, we told people that not only do you have to be a human being to get equal rights, but you have to be not Jewish. In the case of abortion, not only do they have to be a human being to get equal rights, but they have to be born now. And do you see how this is a pattern of discrimination? And that ideology saying that you should be able to kill human beings is leading to horrific human rights abuses, including abortion, which is now the leading cause of death in the history of the world.
I understand that. And I get what you're going with that. And that was some great points. And, you know, slaves have to fight over 500 years to get their freedom. So hopefully in 500 years, abortion is out.
Good. I'm glad we agree on that.
The moment someone starts treating human life like a returnable product, the conversation is doomed. The conservative woman laid out a clear moral pattern, and she countered with, slaves fought for 500 years. So whatever. It's the kind of response you give when you realize your logic is sinking and you're just grabbing random facts for support. Coming up, a woman debates the 10 Commandments, armed only with Google, which still can't save her.
Because I know that do not is a commandment.
Do not murder.
Well, killing and murder, the equivalent. But
no, they're not the equivalent.
To an extent. But
not to an extent.
For the context of this debate. Oh, so now you're a lawyer. Okay. So
this is basic philosophy.
Hold on. I actually want to look that up.
Yeah, murder are two different things.
Oh, yeah. So it's thou shalt not. Okay.
It's thou shalt not murder.
I mean, the actual quote in the Bible is thou shalt
Not
not
in the
kill.
Septuagint, which is the origination of the Bible that we're reading. It's thou shalt not murder.
So you're not using the King James edition of the Bible?
The NKJV.
So you just wrote your own Bible?
NKJV, we use the Septuagint. Where did the King James Bible come from? Do you even know?
No.
Then
but
what are
it
you
is
talking
the most
about? You have
widely
no idea
respected
about the
used
historic standard.
version of
It is thou shalt not murder.
So you just got the quote wrong, though.
It's literally ask Google while I'm sitting here. Is it thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder? Ask it.
In older translations, it is phrased as thou shalt not king, and in newer ones, it's thou shalt not
Oh, so I was right again.
I mean, we were kind of both
No, you were just wrong.
It's thou shalt not
You've
kill
been
in
wrong
some
this whole
versions, and
debate.
it's thou shalt not murder in others.
No, in the original,
Yes,
no, the
In the
translation.
original, it was thou shalt not kill.
Yes.
And then they changed
No,
it to
it's
thou shalt not
murder.
murder.
It's murder.
But it's both. It was both. Like, anyway.
Watching someone fight Google like it's a sparring partner is always entertaining. She clung to kill murder with the tenacity of a TikTok trend, proving that admitting error is apparently optional when ideology is involved. Facts tried to intervene and got politely ignored. Clip 10, a liberal tries to downplay a mandate, and a guy with actual data turns her argument into dust.
He's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
We should
show up.
continue to do that.
Nothing fries a liberal brain faster than someone calmly explaining facts while they're busy obsessing over percentages. Mandates aren't measured by feelings. They're measured by wins in the real world. And yes, when the map flips in your face, arguing about decimals is a last-ditch emotional hobby. Next, one woman explains the biological difference between men and women, and another tries to talk in circles until she gets dizzy.
Is there a difference between women and men?
Of course. We learned this at a very young age, watching even 12 and unders play. Going through puberty causes irreversible advantage that no matter the training, no matter the diet, no matter any alterable change you can make will overcome that male advantage, especially in sports like swimming where lung capacity matters so much. Even something as silly as throat size, men have on average a 40% larger throat, which sounds like it's nothing, but when you're grasping for air, that 40% larger throat makes a huge difference.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines?
If the question is about...
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
I mean, what I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last...
I'm going to try again. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men?
That we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech.
There are definitions for biological...
Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who...
It's funny how some debates can be summed up in one question, but the answer requires dodging it like it's dodgeball. Men and women differ. Cue the verbal gymnastics. Repeating the question just highlights that some truths are inconvenient for certain scripts. And finally, two conservatives explain basic biology while a liberal responds with, well, profanity, because facts weren't working out.
You're not a biology major, so you can't affirm or deny that.
A biology major?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, that's fair. However, go yourself.
Male or female?
Yeah.
What is it? Gambit, someone says they're a woman when you
No, that's a circular definition. Someone who says they're a woman, that's a circular definition, bro. A woman is an adult human female. Period.
A man is an adult human male.
And what determines that?
Their gender, their chromosomes.
Okay, what about people with chromosomal
That's a birth
differences?
defect. It's not the same.
How so?
It's not transgenderism.
Okay,
It's a
but
birth
then
defect.
gender's not determined by chromosomes.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. You're going to birth defects.
Well, and on top of that, how many gamete types are there?
That's a great question, my man.
There's 2 of them.
I'm not a biologist.
There's 2.
Okay.
Sperm
wow,
and
so
egg.
you've got like a whole operation
Sperm and
here.
egg.
Sperm and ova. Yeah. Do males produce ova?
I don't know, man.
This
I
is
just
what
work here.
Portland State.
Okay. So you don't agree with that or deny it?
Oh no, I deny that. I think that's stupid.
But you have no basis for it. You said you're not a biology major, so you can't affirm or deny
A
that.
biology major?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
good
So you want to talk it? You want to talk about it?
See?
Yeah. You don't want to talk about it now, huh?
That's fair. However, go yourself.
Yeah. You can't make any arguments. That's why you get emotional now,
Ad hominem.
which is the funny part.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
you're so true.
If you're not versed in biology, just don't talk about it. It's that easy.
The conservatives dropped Biology 101, chromosomes and all, and he responds with anger instead of curiosity. Facts don't negotiate, and sometimes all you can do is watch someone slam the door on reality while shouting profanities. That's all for today's collection of truth bombs and face palms. If you loved seeing logic walk in like it owns the place, smash that like button, subscribe for more unfiltered takes, and tell us in the comments which liberal meltdown was your favorite.